Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Mario here from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of the Mega Man Marathon. So even then, welcome back to more Let's Play of Mega Man for the Nintendo Entertainment System, those of you are able to interested with this. So, last time we actually did manage to done 6 stages all in one on the last video, which we did done Cutsman, or in this case I did manage to done Bomb Man, and Gutsman, and Cutman, Electman, Iceman, and Fireman, all in its respective orders. So today for this episode, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that we're going to be tackling through the final stage in the game, and that's the forms of Dr. Wily's stage. So even then though, that in order to actually get to Dr. Wily's stages, well, we need to collect every single Robot Master's weapons. So even then though, that should be really worth noting for anyway. So it looks like Dr. Wily is going to be behind all this all of a sudden. See Veneno, we're about to stop him once and for all. See Veneno, let's get started right there. But in forms of these Wily stages, although before I get to anything else for this recitable, I'm also able to get a death situation because I don't have that enough, not enough lives left, so there goes my first game over in this particular game itself, especially with the forms of how the fact that, well, I'll get to more details as soon as we're about to be ending up with this particular game itself, because even then, yeah, this is the Wily stages, even then, or Dr. Wily stages. Now, in the final stage in the game, they can be broken off into a few sections. Even then though, that, well, the first section, we're simply going to be exploring for the outside portion, while simply just able to dodging for those really tough, annoying enemies to deal with right there. And every once in a while, well, what the Christ? I didn't see that coming. I somehow managed to grab this, block out of nowhere, whenever I was trying to grab the block, and trying to, chuck it from, you know, from anywhere else. So that's a bit weird as far as I'm aware for that. So yeah, because in order to actually finish up the main game, you must able to obtain every single Robot Master's weapons, like the forms of all 6, including the likes of 8 when we get to the future games in the series that we're about to be getting into those kinds of stuff. So even then though, yeah, I will admit though right away, the Dr. Wily stages are very simple by comparison. I mean, trying to able to actually deal with these stages, or in this case for this match, is not too difficult, but not entirely frustrating. But the only time it makes it a little bit frustrating for first-time players, not only because of how the fact that we're going to be come towards these little obstacles we need to able to deal with, like for instance, Spikes is there, which even Eno, as I mentioned to you before, Spikes instantly kills Mega Man, so even Eno as well have to watch out for that. And the same applies to how it does it for this part right there. Some dumbest enemy placements occasionally. There's actually health pickup. I would love to able to pick that up, but unfortunately there's no way I can go up there, because even I know that, well, before the future games in the series, before, you know, Mega Man 3, we'll get something very useful one day. But even I know, as for the first game in the series, not now, because even I know that we need to actually just, you know, finish up the main game. Kind of thing about it though, is the fact that some of these Let's Players can able to actually do with this game for about, just one part within 30 minutes or less, or 30 minutes or more. But even I know that we're going to be doing this in 2 parts though, so even I know that's you might expect it, because it's the first game in the series, and also is significantly short compared to the future games in the series though, so even I know that might be expecting for this much. So, anyways, this part could be very tricky for those of you ever first time playing this level though, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, since I've managed to able to do this on my first try though, so even then though, I expected to able to actually just make it there just fine. But again, you do need to watch out for those spikes, because even then, again, spikes will instantly kills Mega Man, so if you want to reach up for this point here, I highly suggest you go after this particular magnet beam. So even then though, that way we should able to actually just go ahead and create platforms, and then you should able to reach at the highest point as possible. So here we go folks, on to the, every time you get to the actual, obstacles or platforming sections every once in a while, we also manage to get ourselves the boss battles in this place. Fudging Yellow Devil. Because I say that because, well, here's how it goes. Basically, he constantly just doing that every single time in both sides of the screen, or in this case, both sides of the actual screen, or in this case, if you want to call Yellow Devil Blob Monster, it depends on your translation. Because let me tell you, he's a pain in the backside, especially noticeable if you trying able to actually face off against with him normally. But as you can see right there, this is where the pulse trick comes into play. Like, every time you're actually trying to able to use the the Thunder Beam, that way you can able to actually keep on pausing the main game. And that way you should able to actually to track the forms of the actual technique you're trying to perform. Sure, it's a bit cheating, which honestly I don't really care, because even though that I know a lot of comments out there were trying to say that oh my god, you cheating, so that must be illegal. Because even then, I will admit though right away, I've noticed that in some of these Let's Players out there, managed to have some bit of a struggle with the forms of the Yellow Devil, so even then, that could be something that much. But the only weakness is the forms of how the fact that you can able to actually attack its eyes, so that's all you really need to know. So here we go, on to Wily, Dr. Wily Stage 2, is the fact that we need to able to actually do occasional platforming sections, and every once in a while we're actually going to be having a rematch against with the forms of the actual robot masters themselves. Like even then, our first one we actually come across into is Cutman, so you know these weakness we've already on about. Well, we're gonna have to deal with them again. So even then, that if you know the actual weakness is all about when it comes to the robot masters themselves, then you should highly suggest you're able to actually use the correct weapons you're gonna be using. So that's how it goes. So even then, that yeah, that's what I can really think about. And of course, we got ourselves the returning Elect Man. So even though I exactly know what his weakness is, although kind of think about it though, I'm pretty much guarantee it's gonna be let's just say Cutman, so even though, or in this case Cutter Roller, so there he goes. So even though that technically speaking with Cutterman, Cutman weakness was, it was the forms of the Gutsman's weapon, or in this case Super Arm, but I don't think there's any blocks around here, so even though that should be expected. So for this level in particular, with these occasional platforming sections, it's going to be a lot of bottomless pit heavy. So even though that every time you mess things up with platforming sections noticing, then you instantly kill yourself. So even though you have to watch out for that. And good thing there's actually an extra life there. So let's go ahead and just create those, some more magma beam to able to actually just to create some more platforms. And this is the point I might as well able to after dishing out this enemy first. I think this is the point I probably shouldn't be able to lose my life. Well, the good thing about this though is the fact that every time you die, especially when you get to this spawning section, as you can see right there, then luckily for you, the extra life still spawns. So even then though, that should be pretty worth noting for that anyway. So thankfully I've got my extra life back. So even then though, that's a really great way to be able to actually notice something like this happens, because even then, as far as the, Wily stages are concerned, these are definitely the more trickier levels to be encountered with, which even then, we'll get to those during at some point or another. So even then, with that being said, yeah, we reached at the very end of the forms of Wily Stage 2, which even then, that, well, we haven't exactly got to the very end at the moment right now, but until at this point right there, because even then as soon as we're actually coming towards the forms of, oh, I need some more health pickups, because even then I probably should be able to need some more health so badly. So here we go folks, on to the next boss in the Dr. Wily stages of all things, and then this one might be a little bit annoying to deal with, because all you have to do is basically we need to fight ourselves the doppelganger of ourselves, because as you can see, he got himself the exact same weapon as I pulled off, and especially noticeable how the fact that, well, it's going to be a lot tougher, because even then that, not to mention that the informs of how the fact that I was going to be a little bit powerful enough to able to actually use the weapons themselves, but unfortunately though, how the fact that the only way you can able to deal with the doppelganger of yourself for that department is the forms of your Mecha Buster itself, because even then that'll deal some slight bit of damage, because even then I will admit that right away, I suggest you do not use any other weapons aside from Mecha Buster, because that way, the craziest thing about the doppelganger Mega Man boss battle, you know how the fact that when he was trying to be using the exact same weapons as you're gonna use, but the damage output is way too high at this rate, which even then, I will admit that right away, is really tough for that boss, which even then I was able to say that much. I forgot to mention with the forms of this little orbs that I've managed to grab from the actual stages themselves. Every time you actually grab those little depends on what color balls you're gonna be collecting. These are the forms of these, well, stage points, or in this case, for this matter, the actual, stage orbs, because even then, it only happens in every single stages in the game, but even then, though, because that's what the score system comes into play, because even though, again, if you manage to grab this certain amount of, colored balls, then you would able to actually guarantee you would give yourselves these extra amount of points for your disposal, which that could be a good way for able to actually just, well, although it's kind of worthless in my opinion, because it's all about just simple platforming and shooting, so even though that could be some conception. So here we go on to Dr. Wily stage 3, so that way we can able to actually use the actual water currents right there. But even then, though, we're going to be spending most of our time underwater of all things, because, well, we'll get to the actual point as soon as we're able to finish up the main stage itself. So with that being said in mind, let's go ahead and use the Mega Buster, see that we can able to dish out as many of those explodable enemies coming from up ahead. So even though with that being said, it's not too bad to deal with right there, unless if you're actually trying to stand further away from them, but hey, at least we can able to deal with that. So on to the next boss in the forms of the Dr. Wily set of stages. Now the forms of this particular submarine contraption, which I will admit though, this can be kind of annoying at times. Well, nothing even compared to the likes of the Yellow Devil for arbitrary reasons, because you know how the fact that with you know, the Yellow Devil is such a pain in the bum as far as the actual boss fighters goes, or in this case a pain in the butt. So I digress. Every time you actually kill one of those little machinery things in the underwater, you'll actually just manage to able to occasionally get yourselves a different color boss gauge, if you couldn't tell from that point right there. And I suggest you're able to actually take down the first 3 set of submarines before you're able to actually use the Gutsman's weapon for the super arm. So that way it'll do certain amount of damage when you actually use the super arm. And that way we should able to completely done with Wily stage 3. Well, to be more accurately, Dr. Wily stage 3. So with that being said, now we're moving on to the true final level in the game, and that's the forms of Dr. Wily stage 4. So even though that we can able to actually see what's gonna be coming up until up ahead. So with that being said though, I'm really looking forward to actually finishing this game before Sonic needs to get on to Mega Man 2 until tomorrow, because today was the 2nd of August. So I would appreciate if we're going to be doing multitude of parts in one video, but it might be just a little bit more, I don't know, cryptic in my honest opinion about it. But anyway, after all, I'm pretty much running out of the Gutsman's super arms, so I think I probably should use the Magnet Beam, for those of you who might have missed it. So speaking of Gutsman, these portraits kind of familiar, because it feels exactly like Gutsman, because even then, well, we'll explain more details about the fact that why Gutsman is all over the place when it comes to the Wily Castle stages, or even in this case, Dr. Wily set of stages. So even though that, we'll get to that certain more details about this. So, anyways though, so let's go climb up these ladders here, and this is what makes it a little bit trickier for this section here, because obviously we still need to wait for this little platform to come over there, just like the ones in, you know, in Gutsman stage. But except it's a little bit tricky right there. Oh, we actually come across into not only the extra life, but also this particular familiar item. Because if you remember for this correctly, for this little ninja blade kind of little item symbol right there, this is the forms of Masashi, which even then, if you manage to obtain that, this means you can able to actually refill everything by the forms of your weapon ammo, and even especially noticeable with your health as well. So this could be a very, very important item of the game, because not only because of how the fact that if you're having a hard time with the actual game itself, you can also manage to able to restock your weapons counts, or in this case, in this weapon gauge, anytime and any point. So even though that, yeah, that's very interesting. And from here, we can actually just fight against with these 4 robot masters again, which are essentially like, you know, Bomb-Man and Flame Man, or Fireman I should say, and especially noticeable with Iceman and finally Gutsman himself. So, not sure why that Dr. Wily was a huge fan of, you know, Gutsman to begin with. But even then, it wasn't until when we get to the actual, future games of the series that held the fact that, well, until Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3, well, almost inspires from Mega Man 3, and eventually in Mega Man 7, because even then, that, well, until we get to those games eventually. So anyways, here we go with, speaking of Gutsman, here he is. So, you know, same weakness as usual, so even then I suggest you do this particular method, because that way you can able to get some experiences very, very easier. But it might be sounds not as easy as it looks at first glance, because even then, know that, as far as I've mentioned about this before, this is the first game in the series of what we're talking about here, and every once in a while that it may get a little bit more archaic than it looks. So even then, with that being said, onwards to the next room over the actual teleportation devices. And then if we go all the way to the right, here we go with the true final boss in Mega Man. So here we have himself, Dr. Wily himself. So basically, he can be kind of annoying at times, especially noticeable in this first section, because I say the first section because this particular final boss actually retains 2 sections. So even then though, as you can see right there, especially noticeable for my performance, as you can tell right there, I'm pretty much going to be ended up dead at any point noticing, because this particular cannon right there is the only thing you need to worry about. But I've somehow realized that I just must have used my wrong weapon, so I really can't guarantee by the fact with the Thunder Beam can't deal that much damage. But even then, I will give it another go. But even then, as soon as it turns out, actually kind of think about it, I'm pretty sure the Firestorm can deal a lot of damage with the forms of the actual multi-projectile cannon, which even then, speaking of such, let's go ahead and just quickly pause the actual menu quickly and switch over to the Firestorm quickly, and that way we should able to deal some of the damage on the forms of Wily Capsule 1. And if you deal that much damage, then if you think the boss battle was actually over, but it turns out there's still more to come, because now you have to deal with, well, the second phase of the fight. But there's one annoying obstacle I will admit though right away. It's going to be really, really annoying to dodge, and that's the forms of this little spirally energy ball, because that way if you keep on getting hit by that, then chances are you might as well lose a life, and then as a result you have to do the entire final boss again, which even then though that it can get annoying at times. But as soon as you deal enough damage, which I highly suggest you deal with Thunder Beam, and as soon as you deal enough damage, then Dr. Wily has been defeated. So will he able to be forgiveness again? Well, at least to be more accurately, forgive us, which I'm pretty sure that Mega Man is like, hey, cut that crap out. And then after all that, well, after this little particular jingle is about to be over, and also in addition to like 200,000 points for our disposal, in addition to other bonuses here and there as well, and he'll actually just leaves. Mega Man has ended the evil domination of Dr. Wily and restored world to peace. However, the never-ending battle continues under all destructive forces are defeated. Fight Mega Man for everlasting peace. So yeah, he just leaves, and even then though that could be explained for one thing, but even then though, overall Mega Man, the one that started it all, is actually not that bad actually. Sure, it can be a little bit more outdated, especially noticeable how the fact with the compared to the future games in the series, it gets a little bit significantly better. And for some reason, this game doesn't sell as many copies as I was hoping will be. I mean, is it probably because it's this game is way too hard for arbitrary reasons, or is it because of how the fact that, well, the first game in the series is nothing worth to home about, or even especially noticeable with this horrendous North American box art of the game, which I will admit that is hilariously awful for that box art of the game, for North American version of the game. So anyways though, with that being said, that concludes Mega Man, and even then though, the graphics look very, very good. especially for this time of day for the NES. So with that being said, that concludes Mega Man. So this is me, Mario, and then tune in next up of the forms of the Mega Man Marathon, especially notable with this new Let's Play we're going to be doing. Now the forms of Mega Man 2. Also came out on the Nintendo Entertainment System. See for Nintendo. Hopefully Sonic will be able to get a better experience from this, even though I did have a fun time with this. So on to you, Sonic, with Mega Man 2. So see you guys then. Bye.